You may have learned how to calculate takeoff distances for the FAA knowledge exam, but let's look at a real-world example where small differences can have big effects on our flight planning and ability to get out. Nowhere is this more true than at shorter grass runways like this one. Let's look at our POH for the Cessna 172. Under Section 5, we have a chart to compute takeoff distance. This chart assumes, as you can see in the leftmost column, that we're at 2,400 pounds. We need to know the outside air temperature and the pressure altitude. Let's have a look inside the cockpit. The pressure altitude is what the altimeter reads when it's set, as it is now, to 2992. It's about 1,000 feet. The outside air temp is 5 Celsius. So looking at the chart, we want the figures for 1,000 feet, but since there's no column for 5 Celsius, we'll look at both the 0 and 10 degrees. For each temperature, there's a figure for the ground roll required, and a figure for the total distance to lift off and then clear a 50-foot obstacle. That's what we're interested in calculating, but as you'll see, we need both figures. Now, because there's no 5-degree column, we'll need to interpolate between 0 and 10 degrees. 5 degrees is right in the middle of those two. We're going to take the total to clear a 50-foot obstacle from each column and add them together to get 3330. Now we'll divide by 2, giving us the average of the two figures, which is 1665. This is the 5-degree distance needed to clear a 50-foot obstacle, but we're not quite done yet. We're on a grass surface. Taking off on grass, there's more friction on the wheels and we'll need more space to lift off. Note 4 above says that on a dry grass runway, increase distances by 15% of, and be careful here, the ground roll figure. So we want to once again take the average of the 0 and 10 degree figures for ground roll, which is 907, then figure out 15% of that, 136. We add the 136 to the 1665. The 1665 is our total to clear a 50-foot obstacle if we were on a hard surface. We add the 136 thanks to the grass runway. We get a total of 1801. We'll need to check our runway distance against this required run. Remember that these figures are based on 0 wind and a new aircraft with clean surfaces and a well-functioning engine. It also requires good execution of the saw field technique of remaining in ground effect before climbing out. You'll want to add a buffer factor in for yourself. You don't want to play it too close on these departures. Now let's see what a change in temperature does to our calculations. 5 degrees required 1801 feet. What does 20 degrees require? Hotter air is less dense, so the aircraft performance will be worse and will need more runway. There's no need to interpolate because we do have a column for 20 degrees. The total to clear the obstacle is 1860 feet, but we still need to add in the grass runway factor. We want to take 15% of the ground roll, which is 152. We add the 152 to the total to clear the obstacle and get a total required run of 2,012 feet. So compare the two results. A 15-degree increase in temperature takes us from a required distance of 1801 to 2012. This could very well be the difference between a go and no-go decision on a runway like this. Make sure you're calculating well and adding in a buffer factor, and if you really want to boost your knowledge, check out Private Pilot Ground School with Flight Insight at the link here and in the description.